lockdown, everybody is working remote and the use of systems, the laptops, computers have increased tremendously. And hence everybody is facing a very day-to-day problem of having cluttered folders and all the files being unorganized. So I have come up with a simple solution, a simple JavaScript solution. You can use this and you can make everything organized according to your need. Now let's see how we can make this organizer by ourselves. So this is nothing very complex. It is just a JavaScript file that I have written. And now let me just take you through it what all I have done. So over here first I have done some basic setup which includes a basic print function, a print error function, some prompt attributes which I need to take in from the user, and some organizer settings. So let me take you through this prompt attributes over here because I need to take input from the user, which will be the folder path wherein we need to organize our stuff. So the folder path will go on over here. This will be just the display message which will come to enter the folder path. This particular field is necessarily to be added. That is why it is required, and hidden is false because it doesn't need to be hidden. Now let's see what this organize setting is. So over here we know that we are organizing our files according to the extension, as in the type of files they are. So for example, if they are JPEG or JPG or PNG, so these are my images and I want them to come under media. So what this exactly does is basically gives a roadmap to my script that what sort of extensions are to be added to what path. So if there are images, so it is going to be added into a folder media, and within media we will have a folder images, and within the images all these extensions will be present. So similarly I have for GIS, for SVGs, for other media extensions. Then we have for videos, we have it will be in media then videos. Now apart from this we have different kinds of documents. So within the documents folder I'll have a text files folder, within we'll have all the txt files, we'll have PDFs, we'll have word files, Excel sheets, CSVs, zips, and we'll have a PowerPoint presentations, we'll have a programs. So this is basically a basic setup. So this will tell us how we have to organize the files. And if there are none of the above, like if they do not qualify any of these extensions, so we are going to simply place them in the other files folder, and this will have a base path. This will not have a base path because this will come within that particular folder itself. Now this might be a little confusing right now. I'll just explain you how this will work. So over here now let's see how the things are going to work. So I'll come to these functions later on. I'll just tell you what are these. So I've included these three modules which I'll be needing for my script. So this is basically a print statement welcoming to the file organizer. You know, it is good to write such print statements. It becomes more interactive with the user. So over here I start the prompt and I pass the parameters that I had written above over here. So these parameters will be passed, and the user will be displayed with this message that please enter the path which needs to be organized, and then whatever the user enters it goes into this particular name, like it goes in over here. So once the user adds the input, so when we pass these prompt attributes, and the user then input like has an input, and then we accordingly add a function to it. Now what this function does is, so if in any case some error occurs, so we are going to just print that error. Otherwise what we're going to do is, we are first going to get the files, whatever files in the folder mentioned by the user, and then we are going to organize them. So everything is all our basic logic is written in these two functions, which is getting our files and organizing them according to our need. Now let's see what this does. Now first is get files. Now over here we have a path. So over here we are just simply returning a result dot folder path. So over here in the result what we get is the input from the user, and here in and we are just passing the directory path, which is the path of the folder, and we try to get the files. Now over here, first we are going to see, now this what this existing does is it just checks that if that particular like the input folder structure exists or not. So if it exists, then we are going to read the directory, and we are going to get all the files that are present within this particular directory path, and get it in this particular variable, which is called file. So this files will have all the files that are mentioned in the path. Now if the directory path is not correct, so it will simply print my error. Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to segregate all the files. Now why do we need to segregate our files? Now see, we need to segregate. What this exactly will do is this is going to segregate all the files according to the extension. So all the PDFs will get together, all the images will get together, and so on and so forth. Now how my script will know that which extension have which all files have same extension? So we just saw this organizer setting, right? So we are going to use this, and we are going to just store all the files of same extensions or similar extensions together. Now let's see what this function does is, we are going to iterate over all the files that we have received. So over here we sent files over here, right? So we received all the files over here, and we are going to do this particular operation for all the files that we have received. Now in order to get the extensions, we just split our file on the basis of dot. We know that extension comes after a dot operator, and this is just a flag to tell my script that okay, the current file still needs to be segregated. Now we are going to iterate over the organizer settings. Now what we are going to do is, in our organizer setting, we are going to find that which particular tuple is my target tuple. So if suppose my current file that I need to segregate is a SVG file, so I need to file this particular part, and I need to enter the file name over here. So how we are going to do this? We are simply going to iterate over this organizer setting, and now see, our files can be of two types. Like it can be a file with extension, or a file without an extension. A file without an extension is basically a folder. So over here, now see, we don't need to organize the folder, right? The folder needs to be there as in the folder will be there itself. Only the files are going to be segregated. All the files that are present in that particular directory are to be segregated. So first we're going to check that if this is not a folder. So if my file name is suppose folder, so when I do a split on it, I do this particular function, I apply this particular function on this. So my file arguments will simply have only uh, one one element named as folder. Otherwise, if it was file.csv, then the file arguments would have had file, and the second argument will be csv. So over here, basically what we are checking is if the length is greater than 1, that there is an extension to it, and we still need to segregate this file. So this is a basic condition that we are writing over here. Now we are going to see that if my current organizer setting, that is when I am migrating to my organizer setting, I need to see if the current organizer setting includes this particular extension. So over here it says os.settings.extension includes. So what it does is os.settings.extension. So basically if this array includes my required extension, then we are going to simply insert the file into os.setting.file. In that corresponding os.settings.file, we are going to include my current file. And then what we're going to do is, now since this is segregated, we are just simply going to make it false. Now there might be a condition that the extension that I have mentioned is not present in any of my organizer settings. So we need to include it in the last one, which is our other files. So over here, So just keep in mind that this default should be in the last, otherwise the segregation will be not done properly. Now if suppose I have iterated through all the organizer settings and I couldn't find a matching setting wherein my extension is present, so we are going to simply add it to the default one where my base path is empty. The base path is empty only at that particular place where my other files folder is present. So this is how I segregate all of my files into this organizer setting. Now once I segregate them, now from this I come out and my get files function is completed, so I go over here again. Now after my segregation is done, now the main part which is to organize is to start. Now we just simply pass this result which includes my folder path to this organize method. Now let's see what this organize does. This is the main heart of our script. So what we're going to do over here is we are simply going to iterate over the organizer settings, and for every file that we receive, we need to move it to the new location. Now how do we know what our new location is? Now see, the old path, now see what over here we're doing is we are going to iterate over the organizer settings, and within each setting I need to iterate over all the files. Now we are going to first calculate the old path. The old path will be the directory path that the user has entered plus a path separator plus the file name. So this will be the path of the current file that I want to segregate or that I want to place into a proper folder structure. Now we need to get the new path. Now see, the new path will be the directory path the user has entered. Then within that directory path we are going to add the base path, and within the base path we are going to add the name, and within this name folder structure we are going to insert the corresponding files, which means if my directory path is suppose C Shubhi, so within C Shubhi we are going to add the base path within media, and then within media we'll have GIFs, and within GIFs I'll have all the files with the extension .gif. Now let's see how we can do this. Now over here, now see, over here first now see, we need to create new folders as well, right? So what we're going to do is currently my new path is the path which the user has entered, which is the folder path. Now we are going to see if the base path is not empty, because if my base path is empty, then we don't need to create any folder structure in order to maintain the base path. But if it is not empty, I'm going to split the base path using the my path separator. Now why this is so? Because there might be a possibility that over here I want my base path to be something like this. Now in this case, first we need to create a folder media. Within the media folder we need to create the folder doc, and then within doc we need to create GIFs. So for this particular reason we are going to separate this over my path separator, and then for now this will give me the list of folders in the particular order which are needed to be created. So for every folder, now my new I'll include this folder to my path. Now if suppose the base path was documents, files, folders. This is just a vague example. So what it is going to do is, this is this. Now this particular line is going to divide these into 3 different sections, which is like this. We'll have an array of the name of the folders that are to be created, and the order is exactly how it is going to be created. At first we are going to make the documents, within documents we'll make files, within files we'll make folder. So first we are going to add the first folder documents to my path. So within this new path I've added this folder. I check if this path exists. If this path doesn't exist, then we're going to create the folder. Otherwise we're going to simply skip creating the folder. Now after this is created, the second folder that I have is this files. So now my path will include the files. So now my path will be something like, if suppose the directory path the user has entered is just C. So in the first iteration it would have been documents. Then in the next iteration, it will be files. Now it will check if my C documents files is present or not. If it is present, then it is not going to create it. And if it is not present, we are simply going to create the files folder. And the next iteration, my path will become folders. This will be my path. It is going to check that if it exists or not. If it doesn't exist, then we are simply going to create this. Now in this we have created the base path. Okay, so now we need to create that particular folder wherein all my files are going to reside. So over here I'll see if my settings.name is not equals to null, because if it is null, then we are simply not going to create that folder because it cannot have a blank name, right? Now over here simply we are going to do the same. We are going to see if I'm going to add that to my path, and if I'm going to see if it is present or not. If it is not present, then I'm going to create the folder. Now over here this is the path wherein we are moving our files from one location to other. So first what we do is I update my new path. So the new path will be the whole folder structure, and then my file name. So this will be my final path, and over here I'm going to copy my files from the old path, which is this, to the new path, including all these base path and the file name, or actually the folder name. Now after copying, I'm going to check that are these copied successfully. If this path exists, so what we're going to do is we are going to delete the old file. Now see, if you don't do this, right, if you don't do the steps, so we'll have two copies, as in the old path will also have that file, and the new path will also have that file. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the old file, because we have already copied that file to a new location. And if in any case there is an error or something, and when we are unable to find the copied file, it will just simply print an error that okay, the copied file doesn't exist. You can just go and check that manually. So this is how this organizer is working, and this is how it is going to segregate all my files according to the organizer settings that I have mentioned over here. So this basically tells what type of extensions are to be added at what file structure. So let me just give you a quick demo. So over here I'm within the folder structure where my JavaScript file exists. I'm going to run the JavaScript file, which is node organize. So I have just mentioned the path which I need to organize, and I press enter. Now see, it has created a new folder, media. So we have this media folder. Within media folder, it is creating the folder images. So in media we have images, and within images the files that are moved are image.jpeg, resume.png, and this particular image. So if I go into images, all these three images are over here. Then in media we have SVGs. So SVGs was created, and the SVG file is present over here. Now after this we have videos. So we have our two videos moved over here. Then we have over here we have documents. Within documents we have PDFs, and all of these are well segregated. So we have all the CSVs here, we have all the PDFs here, we have our PowerPoint presentations here, then we have Word files and zips, and also we have our codes over here. And these two are the folders, so they remain the same. All the files have been aggregated. So this was all for today's video. If you like the video, then do hit that like button, do subscribe to my channel, also share it across with your friends. Thank you.